lighting, create highlight, retouch, highlight menu, flip, mute. Okay. And that is anything I need. Share with your audience. Oh, I guess I can. Huh. Let's try it. How did I do that? Create highlight. Oh, okay. I don't want to do that. Share. Let's go with. Oh, that's different. Okay. All right. Remember live chat. Okay. Top fans. Hey, there's people watching. We'll put that there. There's actually people watching. Sweet. Hello to everybody who decided to watch. I guess if we get some people in here, we can talk about some stuff. Throw your name in the chat if you come in. Welcome, welcome. Don't have anything real specific to talk about, but nobody else is live and I'm bored. So I threw it live up and I wanted to see what I was capable of doing on my phone, and it doesn't look like much. Doesn't look like I can share anything. Somebody throw something in the chat, please, so I can know my chat's working. Hide live video, mute, flip, create highlights, lighting. Yeah, close. So apparently, I cannot do much. And there's only one person. We'll see if anybody jumps in. Hey, somebody. Gracie Tracy, that's a new name. Hello. I'm not familiar. Have you been in my lives before? I don't recognize your name. But thank you for putting something in the chat. Much appreciated. That way I know it's working. I'm not used to doing at-home lives on my phone. I better plug it in. That idea. Oh, first time. Well, welcome, welcome. I don't know if you're a normal, what am I trying to say? I don't know if you're a normal live stream watcher, but we'll give you the obligatory, please hit the like. If you haven't subscribed and you enjoy the content, please do so. What does this button do? Oh, that shows me the chat. Live chat. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm just figuring out how to do it live on my phone. I'm used to doing boots on the ground filming on my phone. You go live when I ended my stream. I could have rated you. I just checked your stream, FP, just a few minutes ago, and it showed you weren't live anymore. So that's the only reason I went live, is because I didn't have anything to watch. I know one other person's doing a live right now, and they're just like doing a bunch of random videos trying to amuse people. But yeah, I literally just checked your video a few minutes ago, or checked your channel, and it said you weren't live. I must have just missed you. I was coming in as you were going out, apparently. Hey, watch the language, man. In case Mr. Bill comes in here, he'll get upset. Watch the language. LOL. And there's K2. Hey, K2, I actually do have something. Apparently, basketball tournament was today, and U of M won, I guess, against UConn. I don't know for sure. I saw it in somebody else's chat. So that's something to be happy about for you, right? So congratulations. I said I may not watch it, but I understand what it's like when your team wins. So I'll give you a congratulations on that. It's a happy day, right? All good, all cool. Man, I wish I had snacks. I don't have any snacks. I was totally unprepared for work today. Looking at my secret stash. I don't have anything down there either. I have some crackers, but if I try to do a live stream while eating crackers with nothing to drink, that's going to turn out bad. I don't care about basketball. Frozen Four is where it matters. And I'm guessing that's collegiate hockey. So that would be cool. You seem pretty excited about it. You keep mentioning it over and over again while we're in the middle of other conversations. LOL. But no, that's cool. Like I said, I don't watch it, but that doesn't mean I can't be excited with you for you watching it. So that's cool. Yep, I'm going to lean back and it's going to look like I got a Buddha belly again. I noticed this on the live stream last night. The way I was sitting made me look like I was Fat Mike, wider Mike. But oh well, that's camera angles, guys. I got a dad bod, but I'm not as fat as the camera's making me look. I promise you that. Not by any means skinny, but I'm not as fat as this camera makes me look. Or I may be, and I'm just in denial about it. I don't know. My wife likes it though, so that's all that counts. Yeah, Frozen 4 in Vegas. Yeah, isn't that kind of ironic that they would have ice hockey in Vegas? That's kind of funny. But whatever. I'm trying to figure out how do they play football in Vegas when it's 100 degrees outside. I'm going to imagine it's an indoor arena. I've never checked into that. But yeah, that's kind of funny. He didn't last long in my stream, Paul, and who timed him out and hit him? Who are we talking about? K2? K2 timed out? Fans. Yeah, right. Are you saying you guys timed K2 out? K2's a troll, but he's a harmless troll. He just wants to talk about his Michigan sports all the time. And he really emphasizes it with me because I'm an Ohio State fan. And for those of you who don't follow college sports, particularly football, the Wolverines and the Buckeyes are arch enemies. We could go 0-11, I guess it would be. I think there's 12 in the normal season. We could go 1-11. 1 win and 11 losses. Oh, Mike showed up in your stream. Gotcha. We could go 1 win and 11 losses. As long as that 1 win was against Michigan, then Ohio State fans are happy. I mean, obviously that's a little bit hyperbolic, but you guys get my meaning. Ohio State and Michigan are arch rivals. And K2's from up in the Peninsula State. And I'm from Ohio, so originally, contrary to my name. So K2 likes to rib me about blue versus red sports. Oh, you're from Toledo? Did you tell me that once and I forgot? But to be honest, it probably, driving wise, or as the crow flies, Toledo is much closer to Michigan than it is to Ohio State campus. So that makes sense. Toledo is almost in Indiana. But whatever, you choose what you choose. Like I said, I'm in Oregon, have been for 30 years now, and I'm still an Ohio State fan. If I was still into NFL, I would probably be rooting for the Steelers, even though I grew up a Browns fan. I've only actually been in the city of Pittsburgh like twice my entire life, and once was for a Browns game. But I like the Steelers. So, you know, you choose who you choose. And then out here, we don't even have professional teams other than the Timbers. And I think we still have the Trailblazers. I'm going to have to look because that seems to change from day to day. But I don't watch professional sports anymore, so I don't really know. So I'll tell you what, if we get 10 people in here, I will start a topic because I got something that's on my mind. I don't know if you guys want to talk about it or not, but it'll give me something to talk about so it's not just dead air or talking about random BS. So if we get 10 viewers in here, I will start a topic. Seattle Krakens. Now, I don't know. Are the Krakens a hockey team? I don't know because I don't watch hockey. So obviously I know the Detroit Red Wings. And there's like a Kamloops team, I guess. I don't know. I don't like I said, I don't follow pro sports anymore. I don't even. I tried to watch a NASCAR race the other day, and very few names I recognize anymore. So, but I've got. If there's any NASCAR fans out here in watching right now, tell me if you've gotten wrapped up in the Cletus McFarland craze in NASCAR. It's like a soap opera, but it's hilarious. And Cletus had a very exciting racing weekend, so I watched a bunch of that over the weekend. I watched NASCAR, yep, because of Cletus, yep. We used to have NASCAR races in Oregon. Small, up-and-coming B-League races. But yeah, I guess Cletus raced in the ARCA and in the, oh my God, it's not Infinity anymore. What is it now? I forget what the other series is he raced in. It's called something different. I was even surprised at that. I didn't even know. I think it used to be called the Infinity Series, and now it's called something else. I'm sure Oregon has junior team and club teams. They do. And actually, B-League and A-League baseball, lower league baseball teams are pretty popular out here. We have Volcanoes. There's, I think the Pickles, I think they're called, oddly enough. We have a couple of lower league baseball teams that are pretty popular here. But if I had to pick, say, other than obviously the Trailblazers, soccer and the Timbers brings in the best crowd in Portland. So they've been talking about getting other pro teams up here for years, and it's not happening. Gen 4 cars coming, the best era of NASCAR. I haven't heard anything about that. I just, I kind of got turned off with started turning 4-doors into NASCAR. I don't know. I stopped watching NASCAR when they started going woke. And when they were literally ignoring their fan base to cater to the woke crowd, I kind of turned my back. I was a huge, because obviously I was a number 3 fan, and that made me a number 8 fan. So I was a huge Junior fan because, you know, he was the next generation, obviously. And when Dale Jr. started going woke, I was like, oh my God, I'm backing out. I can't do this anymore. I can't. Because NASCAR on Sundays was like my one place to get away from politics and to get away from the woke agenda and all that. And I just assumed, as most people probably would in the country, that NASCAR being a hillbilly sport, quote unquote, that they were going to stay away from the woke stuff and just keep racing cars. Yeah, that's about the right time, about 2012. That sounds about right. Yeah, I thought they were going to stay just a normal sport and stay out of the politics, but they didn't. And then you had the whole Bubba Wallace escapade and all of that. And I'm just like, oh my God. And the sad part about it is I was a huge Bubba Wallace fan because I watched the reality series that he came up on. I can't remember the name of it. But I was rooting for him, and I guess you could call me a reverse racist because I was actually rooting for him because he was a black NASCAR driver, and we don't have that many of those. And he was actually in the top. He was in the Cup Series. As far as I know, he's the only one that's raced in the Cup Series. I could be wrong. I could be missing one, but it's not a normal thing regardless. And like I said, I was reverse racist. I was rooting for him. I wanted to see a successful black NASCAR driver because I'm into drag racing too. And I love motorcycle drags. And we got Antoine Brown and all of those guys. There's plenty of black motorcycle racers. But we didn't have a black NASCAR driver. So I was like, this is actually pretty cool. I like diversity in sports. I don't like forced diversity. We could get into the Danica Patrick story later. I actually have interpersonal contact with Danica Patrick. She was actually rude to my children in person, and I am not a Danica Patrick fan. In real life, she's quite the twat. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube or not, but I was going to say something worse. But yeah, Danica Patrick is not a good person, not a nice person. And she actually insulted my children to their mother in front of them in person while they were at my ex's NASCAR store. My ex-wife used to run a NASCAR store, and she was a guest there. And yeah, she was even a dog shit driver. I totally concur, Fat. Yeah, not even that good. Not even that good. I mean, obviously you have to have some level of skill. I'm sure she would beat me. I'm a pretty good driver, but I don't think I could race NASCAR like that, especially like in the Cup Series. But comparatively speaking, you know, she was garbage. She really was. She was a garbage driver, which sucks because I'm more than certain that there are other women drivers out there that could probably get behind the wheel and win some shit. And I would like to see that. Like I said, I'm a drag racer, so I'm a Shirley Muldowney fan and all of that. K2, you cannot get off of that. We're talking about cars and motorcycles and stuff now. I know you're excited. I know you're excited. Oh, today's opening day. That's cool. I hope you got to go to that. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of females that can. I'm not quite sure why they don't. They want to talk about that glass ceiling and all, but I mean, look at John Force's daughters. Look at Pat Musey's daughter that's with Kai Kelly. If any of you guys are into drag racing, you know what I'm talking about. But if you're not into drag racing, you're totally lost, and that's probably why I don't have many viewers. But, you know, you got the Force girls, you got Kai Kelly's girlfriend, Pat Musey's daughter. I don't remember what her name is. She's on the outlaw racing shows. Well, Kai Kelly's got his own YouTube channel now, and they both go around. I like Kai Kelly because he races. I like the cars he puts out. And as far as he has a logistics business, he actually runs a trucking company. So despite his almost soy boy appearance, he's actually a pretty down-to-earth kind of guy. You know what I want to do? Barbie Jeep racing, but going down a dirt hill. I've watched the videos of that, and that looks like a blast. I think I would do that. I would have to put on some football pads and whatnot. Or have you seen the soapbox derby Red Bull style when they make the actual like four-wheel cars and stuff that go down with all the designs and they wear costumes and crap? That's awesome. The Red Wing downhill soapbox derby kind of thing. Those are pretty awesome to watch. But yeah, I've seen the kid car racing and the Barbie Jeep racing, and sometimes they use the vets and whatever. And that's just a riot. That's hilarious. I love watching people do crazy. A lot of my channels on my YouTube subscription list are people that just do wacky stuff. There's another channel that they roll giant balls down a hill and try to take out stuff. And I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, some of the stuff that these guys. And if I had the youthfulness and the drive to do stuff, I mean, these channels get millions of subscribers, and more power to them. That's awesome. I'm jealous, but I'm also happy for them because it's usually younger kids. It's like the C-Boys, I think, started it. The C-Boys do automotive stuff, and I watch those all the time too. But there's other ones out there that just do wacky stuff, throwing stuff off of cliffs and all of that kind of crap, and they get millions of views for it. And I tell my wife, I'm like, what would it be like to actually make a living just doing dumb shit? You're sitting around cracking beers with your buddies and like, what if we did this? And then you go do it, and that's how you make a living. You sit there and in every video you try to be stupider than the last video. That would be a hell of that would be a hell of a way to make a living. I'm too old for that crap now. My body wouldn't put up with half the shit they put their stuff through. But I'll tell you what, there are plenty of days when I'd rather sit here and put out a really stupid live stream of doing absolutely batshit crazy stuff than sit here and put out a political or talk about Antifa or Pam or whatever. I still have 10 viewers. But you guys will find this funny, maybe. I don't know. Maybe you'll find it as funny as I did. But I caught myself listening to Pam's stream earlier that I didn't even know was on until I turned on Fat Patriot. So thanks, buddy, for that. As much as I wanted to ignore, I felt compelled to listen. And of course, she starts her story. Well, guess what? I did that. I had that. I did it. There's not a single thing out there that Pam has not been there, done that, knows somebody, was there, has involved with, wrote a book about it. Every single thing anybody ever says, Pam's like, well, I did it too. And oh my God, that's annoying. But it made me check myself because I've been around for a lot of years and I've done a lot of stuff in the years I've been around. I've been all around this country and I've literally, I make it a joke, I've been everywhere from prison to pulpit. And everything in between. And I've lived in 20 different states, been all around this country, met a lot of different people, did a lot of different jobs. I've got a lot of family all over the country that does a lot of different things. So there's usually not very many things that somebody's talking about that I can't relate to through personal experience. And I got to thinking after listening to Pam for a while, I'm like, am I one of those people that always says, well, I know about that because I did it, or I know about that because my brother did it, and so I'm going to check myself and make sure I don't do that so much. So I'm going to have to indirectly thank Pam for making me self-evaluate. But anyways, so as I'm listening to her space, she starts this story with, well, I have two brothers and both of them were in the military. One of them's a Marine and my brothers fought in Vietnam. And then she starts going on with her spiel. Well, I was just a few minutes ago, I was watching somebody else's stream and Elizabeth Warren, they played a clip of Elizabeth Warren, and I'll be damned if she didn't start her speech with those exact same words that Pam put out. Hey, Jay, I'm going, man. Have a good night. You too, FB. I appreciate you being here, buddy. Thanks for stopping in and saying hi. And thanks for making me watch Pam earlier. Appreciate it. LOL. But like I said, I'll be damned if she didn't start her speech plagiarizing Elizabeth Warren from a clip earlier, which makes me think she may not even have brothers, let alone military brothers and one that fought in Vietnam. She is so full of shit that it just literally just oozes out of her mouth in between cigarettes. And before anybody says anything, yes, I smoke a lot. Yes, I'm a hypocrite. I don't care. So I know I've only got a few viewers, but I'll ask, what do you guys think is going to happen tomorrow with this deadline that Trump put on? Oh, I forgot I have to watch this camera. They fixed my security cams, so I have to keep an eye on these. I completely forgot. All right, there we go. I got to make sure those stay on. My cameras have been down for a couple of weeks, maybe a month now. And I just looked up at the computer and realized they were off because I'm not used to looking at the computer anymore. But what do you guys think about is going to happen tomorrow with Trump's deadline for Iran? That apparently, from what I'm hearing, they are vehemently against. They are directly opposed. I guess Trump's got like a 15-point plan or something like that he put out. And if they adhere to it, then we'll stop bombing them. Or I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But I guess the deadline's tomorrow, and I'll probably sleep through it, so I won't be able to talk about it until tomorrow night. So I'm talking about it now. Well, actually, technically today, because it's after midnight, right? So technically it's later on today. It's already 4:30 for me. Yeah, it is. Hello. It's 1:30 for me. So yeah, it's definitely today already. My topic, what's been bothering me today, because I do a lot of, I think a lot. I do a lot of inward reflection, and I do a lot of trying to figure out what my stance is on things and whether I agree with what's going on or not. I'm still having a hard time with the war. I want to trust the plan. I want to trust Trump, but he did say no more wars, and I don't see us. I mean, to me, it's already a war. You know, there's the semantics thing because obviously Congress has to declare it a war and all of that and yada yada. But we're bombing them and they're bombing other people. That's a war. That's a war. And I understand the reasons for it, and I'm 50-50 on it. Some of them I agree with, some of them I don't, considering the fact that we don't get a lot of our oil from there. I know we do a lot of things for oil, but it's like maybe, 5% of our oil comes from that direction or something. And even according to Trump's own words, we don't need it. We have lots of oil. I'll beg to differ because I paid $6 a gallon for expensive gas. So I don't know how we have lots of oil when our gas has just doubled in a month. I don't know what to think it's going to take. Come on, go back up. Iranian leader with the new mindset. Yeah, that's the thing. We need to figure out. We need to get concrete government in there. We need to figure out what's coming next. What's the new plan? And the thing I think is, because of what we did with the Ayatollah, and at least 50% of the Iranian people did not like the Ayatollah, but now it's his nephew, who's supposed to be even worse, that's going to succeed him. If we're going to put somebody in there, we need to do it and just get it over with. Which I think, I don't know. I just kind of predict civil war in Iran as a result of this. And I think in a country like that, it's not going to be quick. And unfortunately, we have a history of doing that, destabilizing countries, because we think it's going to benefit us somehow. Yes, it is sectarian. It's the Sunni against the Shiites. And the problem is the other Middle Eastern countries are so fed up with Iran for decades now that they don't really want any part of it either. If Iran goes into a civil war, they're probably going to be thankful, and they're just going to say, okay, you guys sit over here and do your own thing. We're going to go back to doing our business, and you guys let us know when you're done fighting each other. But the problem is there's a lot of countries in the East that rely on oil from Iran in neighboring countries, which obviously we need to get control of the strait, because the petrol dollar is just going to keep crashing, and our prices are just going to keep going up until we can determine that the strait is usable again, and the flow of what, because it's not bothering us. I like your jacket, and yeah, it's just a sweatshirt. It's a Ariat sweatshirt. It's actually, don't tell nobody, it's actually a woman's sweatshirt that my wife got, but it was too big for her. But you can't really tell. It's a hoodie, man. Hoodies are unisex. But it's got all kinds of little pockets on it. It's got the patch Velcro on this side. It's actually a CCW hoodie. So it's got the little access on the inside of the pocket. And it's actually really, really comfortable. It's warm, but yet silky on the outside. And like I said, I like wearing it to work because the little pockets give me places to put things, and it's baggy enough that I can clip my body cam onto it and whatnot. I like it a lot. And it wasn't that expensive. And my wife got it, and she said, I'm swimming in this, and gave it to me. So, yeah, I love the 5-part on it. I love that. I do. I really love it. I love the sweatshirt. When she gave it to me, I'm like, hell yeah. And then I was going over the sweatshirt, and the only reason I realized it was a female sweatshirt is because it's got the little, you know how women like to do this? And it's actually got the thing for girls to do that. Well, my thumb doesn't even fit through the damn hole, so you know it's made for a girl. And that's the only reason I know that it's a girl sweatshirt. Other than that, it's just a regular hoodie. But see, I like it because when I'm writing, I do that and then put my glove on, and then my hoodie sleeve does not go outside of my glove and catch the wind. And when it's cold, blow the wind up in my sleeve. Because like when it's up here, it'll ride up over the glove and then the wind will get in it. And I'm like, oh God. But if I do this and then put my glove on, then it creates a good seal. And when I'm riding in cold weather, this thing works really, really well. So yeah, that's my sweatshirt. Holy crap, I got 19 people. So my question is, I get these topics and I literally go down a rabbit hole in my own brain. My question is, are we the world police? I heard somebody earlier talking about, well, we've still got the North Korea issue. We took care of Venezuela, quote unquote. We still got the Cuban issue going on. Trump still wants Greenland because of global strategic logistics. And we run around, and it's not as blatant as it used to be. In the old days, they used to say, oh, we're spreading democracy. We're spreading democracy all over the planet. These people need democracy. If they needed democracy, they would have got it themselves years ago. But we are still acting like the world police. But the issue in my head is, to me, it feels like it's just a cover. I think most of us, I'm having faith in my audience to be smart enough to understand that most of it is economic. It's all over resources and the petrodollar, and even if it's not about resources in that region, it's about the transportation of resources in surrounding areas. I was giving my wife my synopsis on why we had Desert Storm, why we had the Iraq War. And in a nutshell, if you look at, I'm a geography buff, and I look at things from a geographic point of view. And if you look, so Iran wanted Kuwait back. The reason why Iran wants Kuwait back is because without Kuwait, Iran literally is landlocked except for like a 50-mile stretch on the Persian Gulf. They have tons of oil. You saw that during the war with the oil fields burning and all that. And they need a way to export it. And Kuwait has giant ports. So Iraq wanted Kuwait to help with its exports. So it's not necessarily about resources, it's about the transportation of resources. And if we control Kuwait, we control those ports, we control export trade. And when you look at the big picture and you look at everything, you understand that there's everything about war is nuanced. Everything about geopolitics and who's fighting who and who are we sticking up for. For instance, Saudi Arabia has no love for Israel. Saudi Arabia does not care one way or another about Israel. So they definitely aren't like rah-rah Israel. Saudi Arabia is a Muslim-based country. Obviously, any Middle Eastern country that is predominantly Muslim is not going to like Israel. Yet Saudi Arabia is going to team up with Israel. Why? Because they need help. Saudi Arabia wants to stay on our good side because whatever Iraq or Iran has left is pointed on the other side. It's on the other side of the Persian Gulf, and they're pointing right at the desalination plants of Saudi Arabia. And if you know anything about the water situation in Saudi Arabia, it is the largest country on the planet that does not have a river running through it. They have no natural freshwater resources in Saudi Arabia. So they've had to come up with giant, there's like 4 or 5 of them on the Persian coast side, which is literally across the pond from Iran. Riyadh, their capital city, is literally in the middle of one of the most inhospitable places on the planet. Riyadh should not be there. It is no place to put a city. But because of the tribal leaders and they wanted it in their tribal area and whatever, when they took over Saudi Arabia, they decided to make Riyadh the capital of Saudi Arabia. Riyadh has no water. It is absolutely barren desert. So they are pumping, I think it's like 500 kilometers worth of pipeline that goes from the Persian Gulf into desalination plants and pumped. And there's like 3 or 4 of these giant desalination plants that they're funding with their oil dollars, and they're feeding the town, the city now, the capital city of Riyadh. If in any of these skirmishes, if Iran feels froggy, they're going to lob a couple missiles into these desalination plants, and they are going to completely destabilize the entire country of Saudi Arabia. That's all they got to do is take out 2 infrastructure projects, and they're going to totally destabilize Saudi Arabia. It's that simple. Imagine not living along a fresh mountain river. Yeah, they literally have no rivers in that entire peninsula. It is the largest area on Earth, I guess, or at least the largest country on Earth that has no rivers running through it. Half of that country is so wicked that they literally have what I saw in a video they were calling the empty zone. That up until maybe 10, 15 years ago didn't have a road running through it. You had to go crossing the desert in 4-wheel drives, which took forever, or crossing camels like the nomads do. I mean, literally they didn't even have a road there until recently. It's ridiculous. Like to get to Oman from Saudi Arabia, like maybe a few hour plane ride, but it would take 24 hours by land. It's absolutely ridiculous. The topography there is crazy. But anyways, because of all of that and their rain shadow and yada yada, they have a coast along the Red Sea that has some coastal plains, and that's where Mecca and Medina are. But it's just this narrow strip of land right along the Red Sea, and then immediately the mountains climb up, and those mountains create a rain shadow that the whole rest of the country gets no water, gets no rainfall. So they literally, even though they have to have mountains, they don't have, everywhere else on the planet you have mountains, they get rained on, and rivers run out of them. But the way the Arabian Peninsula is, that doesn't happen. So most of their country, 4/5, maybe more than that, of their country is basically inhospitable. And that's where you get nomadic Bedouin people, because they can't settle. They can't make, up until recently, Riyadh wasn't even a city until I think after World War II. So it's just crazy. People should not live there. But when they started discovering oil, they got mega rich off it. And that's what they're doing now. But they still need water. In order to sustain human life in a civilized society, you need a steady supply, a constant flow of water, fresh water, potable water, however you say it, usable, drinkable water that you can cook with, that you can, run some plumbing so you can have basic plumbing needs. And literally, Iran could ruin that with a couple of drones. So in Saudi Arabia and Iran doesn't get along with anybody. They're the asshole neighbor on the street that does whatever they want and yell at people, let their dogs run all over the place, have loud cars that things start at 4 a.m, start fires in their front yard, almost burn their trees down. Well, I have a neighbor like that, so I understand. But that's what Iran was. Iran was the shitty neighbor that nobody wanted to have. Mind you, only since the 70s. When they were still the Persians, before they became Iran, they were very, very successful, very, very forward-thinking. They were progressing. The Persian Empire is pretty badass, and it goes back thousands of years. It's one of the longest-lasting empires and type of people still left on the planet. But then when they started the Ayatollah phase and all that, and they switched to Iran, it's been downhill from there. There's still, what we thought until a few weeks ago, we thought they were still a powerful nation. And then we just found out they had a Timu army and a Navy and Air Force. And we pretty much put that shit to shame. But, that was, I don't think that was on anybody's radar or on anybody's bingo card. I think that their propaganda machine has done such a good job of misinformation over the last few decades that we all thought Iran was going to be a force to be reckoned with. And when the shit hit the fan, it turns out, nope, they had a bunch of Chinese junk that didn't work out well for them. And now that's why China's being so quiet, because they supplied Venezuela, they supplied Iran, they are probably helping to supply Cuba. And all of these countries that have China-supplied military assets are getting ran over like a kid with a BB gun. So China's like, oh shit, we better be quiet because everybody sees how garbage our stuff is now. Those small thermal anti-airs are working. No, I'm not sure what that means. But regardless, it's still a huge country with a lot of people in it and a lot of, it's Timu military equipment, exactly. And there's a lot of people affected by this. I guess I saw some post that said Trump's been threatening the power plants and infrastructure points, and they are actually talking about, this is the rumor anyways, I haven't confirmed it, but I heard something about them telling children and young adults to link hands in a giant circle around the infrastructure projects so that if Trump bombs them, he's going to hurt a bunch of innocent people and going to look like an asshole. Granted, that's kind of ingenious in a way, but on the other hand, they're willing to sacrifice their people to not even necessarily win, but to not lose. And that's what we're fighting when we fight Muslim countries. Especially I hope I'm saying, I get them mixed up, but I'm pretty sure Iran is a Shiite country, which is hardcore Islam, old school, kind of like our old Protestants and whatever, like Quakers almost. So you have to agree Mr. Bill would look better in Michigan. Oh my God, K2. You can't stop. We're talking about geopolitics, brother. Geopolitics, not maize and blue. But we're fighting people that have so little disregard for life, so great disregard or so little regard for life. No, you can't stop. I know you can't. I know you can, and I think it's funny. They have so little regard for life that they will sacrifice their own just to not lose. They know they're not going to win. They can't. There's absolutely no. They just want to stop losing. So they're willing to sacrifice their own innocent people to stop taking L's, which is kind of ironic when you think about it. We're going to lose people so we can stop losing political shit. Yeah, they will literally run it heavy. Yeah, they will. We saw it when they went after the embassy. And I don't claim to be an expert on Islam, but when your religion teaches you that if you die for Islam, then you get like 40 virgins in heaven or something like that, they would rather die. It's kind of like old Viking culture to a point, to where, they were like, I don't care if I die, I'm going to Valhalla if I die with my sword in my hand or my axe or whatever my weapon is. If I die in battle, I'm going to Valhalla. And, oh shit, I see my wife in here. Hey, baby. I didn't know you were still up. I thought you'd be sleeping by now. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your tea. Well, you're commenting, so obviously I'm not messing up the Wi-Fi too bad. But anyways, hi, baby. But yeah, when you're promised all these, we as Christians, We have the promise of sitting at the right hand of God and seeing seeing our past loved ones and stuff like that. But like, at the risk of getting canceled here, these are third world countries, and they have more of an old school, basic, barbaric wish and wants list. They're still thinking more animalistic. They're like, we're gonna have sex with virgins every day, and we're gonna get drunk every day in heaven and stuff like that. They've got more of an old school. We're more philosophical about it. We get to meet our God. We get to meet our loved ones that passed away. They just want to get drunk and party all the time. And when you promise them that in exchange for fighting the evil empire, i.e. America, or anything in Western culture, they're more than willing to do that. That's why they have the word that sounds like tourists. That's why they have self-unaliving people that do bad things to innocent people. Yes, I have to say things like that because YouTube will strike you for dumb words, so I got to pay attention to what I'm saying. But you guys know what I'm saying. These people are willing to go literally all out because their promise, think about it, if you're living in the middle of a desert in a mud hut and the only entertainment that you have is your goats and some woman that's so ugly that you don't want her to take off her burqa, and you get promised an eternal party with virgins and wine and all of this stuff, what are you going to choose? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm walking towards the machine pew pew too. Put that Barrett on that tripod and I'm running right for it because I got something better waiting for me. That's what we're fighting. And it's easy for their government to rile up people like that. The problem in Iran right now is half the population now have the internet and they realize there's something different in life. Every time I see demonstrations of the Iranians that want freedom and peace and out of the regime, it's all younger people. And what's weird, add like 75 IQ average, yeah, right? Yeah. They're so dumb, they're dangerous. I agree with that. But there are smart people there. I mean, in every race and every type of people, there's dumb people and there's smart people. I'm not trying to make a gross generalization here because that region actually, thousands of years ago created civilization, created mathematics, created written language. They were the first advanced civilizations, unless you get into conspiracy theories and all this and the pre-flood days and whatever, blah, 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 blah. But as far as we know, with written history, they created written history in that region, in the Mesopotamia area and the old Babylonians and stuff like that. That's all Iran. The Persians were part of that. They actually created civilization. They're not stupid people. Or at least they didn't used to be. And now, with the internet nowadays, and even a country that's as isolationist as a country that tries to stay away from everything. Look at North Korea is the same way. Where are you, TAO? This is a strange building you're in. It's like, yeah, I can explain that later, Paul. I'm in a storage unit. It's a temporary office because our place is under construction. With the internet these days, you can't keep kids away from internet. And if you want to keep up with modern day society, you have to offer internet to your children. So these people in North Korea and Iran and Cuba and all of this, they're now growing up with information that their parents didn't have. And their parents went along with everything because they only saw what was in their country, and they fell victim to propaganda, just like pre-World War II Germany. They didn't have the internet in the 30s in Germany. And look what it led to. They were prime pickings for propaganda and what we now call fascism. But nowadays, the kids have access to the rest of the planet. And they're fighting back. They're like, no, this isn't right. It's just kind of like when there's a cycle of dysfunctional family. And it gets passed down through generations. And then finally, one of the kids gets outside of the family circle and realizes that life can be a lot better, and they break the cycle. And the family dynamic changes because of that cycle being broken. That's what's happening in Iran right now. And I think, in my opinion, that's why Trump's doing what he is now, because they're ripe for change. But not everybody is. This is why I think there's going to be a civil war, because you've still got people that have lived and maybe prospered or just gotten used to the regime years and, a dictator and hard, strict rules and, again, what we would call fascism, I guess, here. I don't know if you would, but they've gotten used to it and they're in support of it. And like I said, a lot of people got rich-ish in their country anyway. It's not what we would consider rich, but to them it is. They don't want it to change. It's their life. They're getting by. They're getting by comfortably. They've enjoyed it. There's a lot of money in Iran. It's got to go somewhere. So anybody who's been making money or being successful or living very comfortably, it's like a mafia death cult. About 5% are in this and live a flip. Yes, correct, Paul. Yeah, it is kind of like that. And it's funny that people keep bringing up the mafia, because what do you think ran Italy before Mussolini got a hold of it? And for all of you who don't know, and I'm sure some of you do, because like I said, I have faith in my audience. You guys are smart people. Mussolini was the one that made popular the term fascism. And it's actually not what everybody says it is. Fascism is actually a financial system. Fascism has nothing to do, very, very little to do with psychological politics, like they say now. Oh, if you're proud of your country, then you're a fascist. No. Fascism is a economical system wherein every business, every economical transaction, everything benefits the state. That's what fascism is. Now, totalitarian, that's a different concept. Those are two different words. Fascism is not totalitarian. Totalitarian has to do with having a dictator, which every form of communism or socialism has. So they're tied together, but they're not the same thing. Because there's communism, there's, but the thing is, the word fascism is actually an economic structure. It has nothing to do with nationalism. It has to do with the economic structure that enables nationalism, hardcore nationalism. Because I believe in nationalism. I believe you should be proud of your country and you should do everything you can to support your country on your own free will. Fascism doesn't have a to guy. You're going to have to rewrite that question. I don't understand what that means. But a top guy. No, because fascism is actually about the government. It's a government system. It's a financial system where there is no free market. There is no capitalism. Capitalism means money goes to people that make the money. Fascism means money goes to the government to support the government. So all these guys that want giant welfare systems in America and want higher taxes and all of this, they're actually asking for fascism. Quite literally are asking for fascism. Because if you go around and raise the tax rates and make everybody pay into the government so the government can pay where they want it to go, that is literally fascism. That's what that means. It's an economic structure. But because Mussolini was a dictator, and Mussolini is the one that pushed that, because Hitler did it too, but Hitler did it under a different name. Hitler did it under the name of socialism. Mussolini is the one that coined the fascism term, which was already there. He just brought it to prominence. But Hitler used the word socialism because he stressed nationalism and ethnic cleansing and all of that. He had more of a racial bias behind his nationalism. Mussolini wasn't so much racial as he was about the country and his whatever he could control. He was an authoritarian. He believed in totalitarianism, but he employed fascism to make his goals happen. And the modern day usage of the word fascism is completely incorrect. Yes, anything other than capitalism is retarded. I totally agree with you on that one, man. Totally agree with you that one. I think capitalism is the best because you get rewarded for your efforts. In any kind of socialist, communist, fascist, any kind of government-run economy, it doesn't matter how hard you work, you're ending up at the same place. What is Adam Smith? Is that an author? Is that somebody that wrote a book? I don't know who Adam Smith is. I'm not Pam. I don't read books all the time. I do read sometimes, but mostly I don't read hard. Nobody reads paper anymore, unless you're 150 years old like her. But that's one thing that bothers me so much is that these lefties run around talk about fascism when they're the ones actually asking for fascism. Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah, the Wealth of Nations. I've heard of that. Okay, now I'm following you. And they're totally, completely using the term incorrectly because it's a financial system that they are actually wanting to implement because socialism has to be facilitated by fascism. And they try socialism or communism, same thing, different words. In the end, they were just books written by different people, but pretty much explaining the same social structure. You have to employ fascism to make those work because it's about the commune. Your country becomes a commune. No matter what your efforts are, no matter how hard you work or how little the guy next to you work, everybody ends up at the same place and the same results. Yes, lazy Buddhas wanting free shit. Exactly. Because they want equality of outcome. And you cannot have equality of outcome without having equality of labor, without equality of effort. If you want equal outcome, you have to put in equal effort. And that is against human nature. Human nature works on a ladder system. And somebody's got to be flipping burgers and somebody's got to be a CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company. Because that's how economics work. See you in the morning. Okay, I'm sorry you're not feeling good, honey. I will see you in the morning. Just a few hours. I shouldn't be late tomorrow. Everything seems on track. I love you and get some sleep. But anyways, I forgot how I got on this tangent. But yeah, you will laugh even harder at them when they call you a fascist. I'm like, no, I'm actually anti-fascist because I don't believe in socialism or communism. I believe in free market capitalism, which makes me decidedly not a fascist. You believe in forced equality, equality of outcome, communal pots, communal economic system. That is fascism. But because the education system has shoved that word down their throats for 30 years now, with a completely different meaning, a new age accepted meaning of the word fascism. I'm waiting for the libs to run out of slurs. Yeah, they'll probably cycle back anytime soon. Yes, Italy was. Yes, K2, that's what I said. Mussolini coined the term fascism. That was the term of his economic style. And the reason why they get confused is because every dictator employs fascism. But they're not the same thing. That's the point I'm trying to get at. Authoritarianism and fascism are not the same thing, but they go hand in hand. We go around the world, back to the world police thing. Yes, everybody please give my wife some love and support. She's going through some hard, we're both going through some health things right now, but she's getting the worst of the symptoms. So wish her well, because we want her to be in a better mood. I want her to be in a better mood. We don't know what Germany's system would work. We don't know what Germany, because they were to put more in 33. Well, yeah, we don't know, but it didn't. We do know it wouldn't work because it didn't. I'll be the first to admit, on paper, communism sounds great. On paper, socialism sounds great. But reality says human nature won't let it happen. It goes against human nature. Communism and socialism. It goes against human nature because we are self-preserving animals at heart. And we are going to take care of ourselves and our own. I had to laugh because I was talking, I think it was even on my live stream. I was talking to Chris one day before everybody got down to ice, and I was talking about how we take care of our brothers and everything like that. But I said, make no mistake, at the end of the day, I will screw each and every one of you if it means the safety of my family. I said, I will have your back any day of the week as long as it doesn't involve my family. But the minute my family is in trouble, that's all that matters. And I'll swear by that. As long as I don't have to make a choice between you and my family, I will have your back. But my family comes first, regardless. God, family, country, in that order. And then come friends, job, acquaintances, community members, all that. Come after God, family, country. And that's the way it should be. But by nature, that makes us self-preserving animals. And we have self-preservation instincts as animals. Because make no mistakes, we may be the most intelligent and most resourceful and all that on the planet, but we are still animals. We are still mammals. We are still part of the food chain. We are still part of, dust to dust, and make, we become part of the system when we get buried in the ground. We're just animals like everybody else. We just happen to be an evolved species of animals. And we're still evolving. And no, I'm not talking about Darwinism. I'm talking about just evolving as a people. There's no mistake. History tells us that we lived in caves thousands of years ago, and here we are on the internet now. So we're evolving. That doesn't mean Darwinism. That just means we're getting smarter every generation, until the last two, where we become decidedly dumber. Even though we've had more resources, access to more information to any other generation in the history of people, but the last two generations are becoming decidedly dumber, and I'll stand by that. Because society is making them dumber because they want lemmings. I will stand by the fact that Gen X is possibly the last generation as a whole to think for themselves, to be resourceful, to not hive think, to actually crave information, to form our own opinions, And because of the indoctrination, education system, that's getting slowly weaned out of future generations. I believe because we are the last generation to live in the analog and digital days. So we had rotary phones and rabbit ear TVs and drank out of a hose. And we have the internet and social media and all of that. We are the last generation to be immersed in both worlds. And I think that puts us in a unique position. And I'm not saying that being conceited. I'm just saying that's just kind of how it works out. Anything after us, millennials, Gen Z, now what do we got? Gen Alpha, I think is the last one. They're being trained to think less and less and accept what's fed to them. As a Gen Xer, as somebody who's seen this happen many times in our lifetime, okay, well, if you're a millennial, you barely caught the analog age, barely. I guarantee you never had a rotary dial phone. You may have had a corded phone at your house. I doubt even that. But I guarantee you did not have a rotary dial phone or rabbit ears on your TV. Unless you went to your grandparents' house. But here's the problem, in my opinion, is the newer generations are getting trained to think less and rely on spoon-fed information more. Therefore, their opinions are incredibly shaped by people that they think are the smart ones. And who's that going to be? Because we stressed, as Gen X and the boomers before us, we were still stressing, get a college education. So it's part of our fault. I don't care what you do, go to school, get good grades, and then we've got to work 2 jobs to make sure you can go to a good college. Then everybody started talking about, oh, government should just give you college. So the government now, because along with this, they're teaching younger generations that they deserve everything just for being, that they're entitled to everything just because somebody created them. So if we tell them they need to have college, but we also tell them that they just deserve everything, what do they want? They want free college. So that's where we get the Bernie Bros in the Biden promise to eliminate student debt and all of this. That is creating more baby birds out of the young generation. Look, we're gonna give you all this because we care about you. So listen to us when we tell you that God isn't real. Listen to us when we tell you that the government has your back. They're creating little baby birds. One of the big things in Gen X, when we were young, we got the words Big Brother beat into us as a bad thing. When technology started creating the surveillance state. And we were told over and over by our distrusting parents, don't trust Big Brother. And they fought against traffic cams. And they fought against cameras at banks. They fought against credit cards because Big Brother was following and tracking your movements through your credit card. But us Gen Xers were like, we worked hard for this. We want things easy. We deserve to not have to carry cash in our pocket. We deserve to have a car that we can scan and tell us what's wrong with it. We deserve all this cool shit because we work hard for it, so we'll forgive the government for intruding in our business a little bit. Patriot Act, exactly. Somebody just put it there. They took advantage of Gen X's patriotism, because I don't know how many of you in here, I don't know what my age demographic is in here right now, but sometimes my chat will be full of a bunch of people that don't even remember 9/11. But I remember the months after 9/11 where every single car on the freaking street had an American flag on the window, on the bumper, hanging from the rearview mirror, the radio antenna or the rearview mirror. The first few months after 9/11, this was the most patriotic I've seen the country in my days. Everybody was a patriot. Everybody was go America. Even liberals were flying the American flag from their front porch. Even the Democrats were blasting the Star Spangled Banner on their house stereo on the 4th of July. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Paul. Everybody was American for a time after 9/11. There's a whole lot of our population that didn't see that didn't experience it, and a whole lot that were too young to remember it. There is a giant voting bloc that doesn't remember 9/11. Let that sink in for a minute. There is a shit ton of people out there that vote for our elected officials that have no clue what it felt like that day. That don't have memories of watching those towers fall. And as far as I'm concerned, that's the last time I ever saw the country that patriotic. Was the few months directly after 9/11. But the sad part about it is it was only a few months and it faded away. Everybody went back to their life as normal. And we complained about the Patriot Act. And we complained about TSA. But you know what everybody did? Went back to work, still kept going through the airport, still kept buying cell phones, still kept throwing their personal information online all over the place. Just went about their daily lives. Everybody was a concerned citizen for about 90 days. Everybody was a patriot. Everybody was a libertarian. Everybody remembered what it was like to be free and what America actually stood for 90 days. Ish. I'm just using that as a nice round figure. And then everybody went back to doing whatever it is they were doing and watching whatever news channel they watch and getting force-fed the same crap on the right and the left. And ever since then, the country's been doing this. But here's the issue. This is left. This is right. For me, to me, it's opposite. This is left. This is right. But when you're looking at me, it's probably the other way. Anyways, left, right. For visual reference. Over here, no, first the right. Over here, pay attention to rallies. Pay attention to all the Trump rallies and the flag waves, everything that's over here on the right, all the patriotic stuff. It's mostly made of people my age or 15 years younger and up. We're talking 35 to 40 years old and up is what's going on over here. Here's the left. They're going all the way to teenagers. They're skipping junior high now to go protest. Guess what, fellas and ladies? We're going to age out of this shit. There's reality. We're going to age out of this shit. Because the people over here are getting older, and pretty soon we're going to start dropping off like flies. And over here, they're just the babies that are growing up into it. You know what that means? That means we don't win in the long run. Unless we do something hardcore and fast and rock steady right now that is going to last throughout the next couple of generations. But if we just sit back and do nothing and just do the status quo like conservatives are known for, this hand's going to win. Because they're constantly pushing their ranks. Their ranks are growing. Because they're getting fed more and more while we're... Okay, why are you... All right, if anybody's still here, for some reason I have no camera. I don't know what happened. My phone just went completely wacky on me. So I'm going to probably try to end this stream and start another one because it's malfunctioning. I don't know what's happening right now. What does this do? No, that tells me to do that. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I have no camera now. I got my phone to work again, but I have no camera. So I'm going to have to restart the stream. So if you want to, Masad did it. Yeah. Well, I didn't even say that word. So I didn't use the I word. I don't know why they would kill me. I'm not sure what happened. My cell service just went completely crappy and it killed my stream. And then my phone decided to glitch out. So if you're still here, bear with me a minute. I'm going to end this stream and try and start another one. I'll be back in a few minutes if anybody's still interested. Thank you for waiting for me.